Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. This is the hate letter from today's idiot, right-wing idiot, Steve. Subject line, you're lying.
Spelled Y-O-U-R, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, badly spelled.
Yeah.
The economy is not... Oh, there is a good morning. That's I usually get that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Yeah, not good morning, C-word, just good morning.
That was nice.
The economy is not doing better than it was when Trump was in office. Gas prices are much higher. Food prices are a level I've never seen in my life. Most people are not happy with Biden, what he's done in office. Most people drive combustion automobiles that require gasoline. The first thing Biden did was cut a major pipeline project.
No.
Okay, we'll break it all down after. He threw a lot of money at electric vehicle production, but most people don't want electric vehicles. The typical Democrat, people are sick. They're sick of supporting people that don't work. They can live on the street and be disgusting pigs. Trump isn't going to jail, dumbass, and he'll probably be the next president of the United States. And then after he cuts prices and inflation and raises domestic oil output, then we'll see what you have to talk about on the radio. Oh, your little AM radio station. Okay, Bob.
AM, FM, satellite,
Whatever.
TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Oil production is the highest level ever. Like all of this
Yes.
crap. It's like, what is he talking about? The Arctic Wildlife Refuge? What is he talking about? It's nothing that would.
Keystone Pipeline?
Yeah,
maybe?
the United States is producing more oil than any other nation in the history of human civilization. That is a statistical, mathematical fact. Math doesn't lie, as House MD once said. This is very clearly true, and what this guy is talking about, obviously, is, well, the propaganda that he's hearing from Donald Trump. And Donald Trump obviously has to continue to pump alternative facts into the minds of his sucker followers because he knows they're not going to go and fact check him. They're not going to look it up. Donald Trump can stand at one of his rallies and go, Portland is burning to the ground. And you go to, one of the many live cams in Portland, everything's fine. The birds are singing, people are going to work and going to restaurants and having a good time. And
Many of the people in those
the
cities
redheads believe
are
it's
surprised.
burning.
Many of those people are surprised to find their city burned to the ground in the summer.
Yes.
Yes.
Seems lovely. Okay. Here's the other thing. Speaking of things Trump says out loud, he just said there's 100% chance there will be a major terrorist attack in the United States, or many attacks, maybe. I mean, this is the thing we're concerned about: is what lengths he would go to to get back in office and get and stay out of prison. I mean, I would not put anything past him, right?
Right. Well, already we know, I mean, obviously this has little to do with terrorism, but we know that the corporate community, as I was saying before, is manifesting another Donald Trump term by sabotaging Joe Biden's economy, or at least trying to sabotage Joe Biden's economy with price gouging. And then, of course, the political press jumps in and describes that as inflation. That's one form of sabotage. Obviously, there are other. There's one guy whose name escapes me. He's an oil tycoon from the Permian Basin in Texas, and he has been conspiring with OPEC and OPEC Plus to jack up oil prices. And again, the blame always ends up going to Joe Biden. Why? Well, because, as I said, everything is stupid right now.
Yeah.
So there are all kinds of things in the works to help Donald Trump get back into the White House. And who knows? I mean, there could be. If there is some sort of violence, it's going to come from Donald Trump's own supporters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the trend in the past.
Well, and Bob, on this Gaza issue, you retweeted the headline, Trump told rich donors he'll deport pro-Palestinian protesters. You said, I told you. One thing I do is any student that protests, I throw them out of the country. There's a lot of foreign students. As soon as they hear that, they're going to behave. He will throw Palestinian protesters deport them.
Yeah.
So you retweeted the New Republic headline. Biden's pro-Israel policy may cost him dearly in an election that could be decided by under 100,000 total votes in a few key states. And you just said voters casting ballots against Biden over this issue are begging for far worse than a pro-Israel policy, exponentially worse. And it's not just Biden who will lose. It'll be democracy, the rule of law, the right to protest against Israel, and many, many other things. Not to mention, you've got this despicable Nikki Haley writing "finish them" on an Israeli bomb the day after Rafah. over in Israel, and somehow.
Yeah, and Joe Biden's doing this plate spinning act in the Middle East, and because he hasn't fully solved it to the satisfaction of both sides in this conflict, then therefore we have to have dictatorship and a guy who is going to do whatever he needs to do to annihilate Palestinians, deporting them here inside the United States, out of the United States, and then going over there and bombing the hell out of them.
Not just Palestinians, pro-Palestinian protesters, which, you know what, that includes a lot of us. People that are pro-Palestine.
Anyone who even vaguely has supported Hamas trying to come into the country, they're going to be blocked from entering the United States. And then pro-Palestinian protesters inside the United States are going to get deported. He has pledged this. He has pledged this in front of fundraisers. This is all part of the plan. And obviously, there are going to be all kinds of other people looped into this process as well, getting deported. I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath of epic proportions if he gets the chance.
This brings me to why I hate everyone but you. This is a peek into my world. Rick tweets, what atrocities will genocide enthusiast Malcolm Nance defend on this Warmonger Wednesday? I also got a thread from, I don't know who this is from. So, you've gone to the pro-Hamas side with Representative Pocan and Jayapal. That's disgusting. When's Tlaib coming on? Okay, so this is in the I Can't Win stack, no matter what I do or say. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I have a similar stack.
Welcome to our nightmare. And then
Let's compare stacks.
You've got the Bobby Kennedy wild card, who's just a bigger and bigger lunatic every day. Thomas Massey, the Republican, said, I'm against all vaccine mandates. Bobby Kennedy just said, yep, me too. And you just said Thomas Massey's pro-polio. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
They are.
Yeah, just utter madness. I mean, every state in the union, I mean, talk about agreement across blue states and red states. Every single state has a polio vaccine mandate to get into public schools for obvious reasons, if you know anything about, polio. And so Donald Trump, Thomas Massey, RFK Jr., they want to ban vaccine mandates. This is, I mean, Mike Judge couldn't have written this better. We are headed to putting Brondo on the crops where, a highway just ends and cars are driving off the end of it, not even realizing it.
It's what plants crave.
We joke, but it's actually moving in this direction where suddenly we just decide, okay, no more vaccines. We're going to defund any school district that has vaccine mandate. And so therefore, kids are getting polio, bird flu is running rampant, dogs and cats sleeping together. It's an incredible
Charlie Pierce on yesterday. He's like, my mom was on an iron lung. What is wrong with you people? Yeah, exactly. Like, this is not like 11 billion years ago.
Right, right. And we're still, I mean, obviously we talk about pre-Donald Trump era as the before times, but right now we're in another version of the before times. We have an opportunity right now to stop Donald Trump, and we can't stop engaging in effery instead. Getting sidetracked from the notion of defending democracy. That's where we are right now. I described it as an electoral World War II. Because what we are facing is not just dictatorship and fascism inside the United States, but then that metastasizes and spreads throughout the world. There is massive oppression. The things that we're seeing that's happening right now in Gaza, we're going to be seeing that writ large in areas that we never anticipated for that to happen. It's going to be a nightmare, and we need to stop it now.
Happy Deliberation Day. Happy Trump will likely be convicted felon by Friday week. Hi.
Fingers crossed. In a time when everything is stupid, I have zero expectations for today. I have no idea where this is going to land. So, that's the extent. I'm not Glenn Kirshner. I'm not going to have an extended answer for that. But, I'm really hoping it goes a certain way, obviously, as we all do. But, God, I have no idea. I'm so disillusioned with my fellow American voters right now. I can't even begin to describe. But that's my own thing, right?
Oh, God, right. Cue latest Politico article about Dems in total freak out over Biden. Oh, my God. Here we go again. Stop wetting the bed. Unring your hands. Okay. Will tweeted, I thought of you. The idea that Biden should cave to his political opponents and begin talking falsely about how the economy is bad comes from the far left, the right, the political press corps trying to exploit liberal guilt and bully Dems into self-flagellation. Don't fall for it. I was mentioning I love that you bitch slap David Ferguson. Or like, Democrats should stop
Oh my
saying
God.
how
Well,
good
that's
the
a good
economy
idea.
is.
I felt bad for David because I was primed up for that conversation and I had no idea it was going to happen on the show. I just had been talking about or thinking about it at least for the previous, I don't know how many weeks. And then David just walked right into my propeller on that occasion. And
Yes.
I felt terrible. It was one of those shows where afterward I'm like, I think I was too hard on David because I really very much disagree with him
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as the, bragging about the
Oh,
Biden
listen,
economy. which,
Malcolm Nance is
yeah.
coming up. I disagree with him on some stuff. It's okay. It's America.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah, we disagree. Right. It happens.
yeah. As I say, if you agree with everything anyone says, you're an idiot. Okay. But I love D. Earl Stevens tweeted, I live in the battleground state of Wisconsin where I will guarantee you Biden's going to destroy Trump. Nobody's freaking out. We're just putting in the work as we always have since 2016. We're getting ready to win again, freaking out. F off with all this. I mean, I do live by the Bob says, don't get happy. I do think it is a fine balance, right?
Right. Well, and this economy question, the question of inflation, which is actually, by the way, just cutting to the chase, spoiler warning, it is price gouging. It is corporate price gouging that we're experiencing right now in terms of prices that we're all dealing with. The thing is that we have this attitude, I think, on the left where if everybody doesn't get a cupcake, then no one gets a cupcake. And it drives me crazy sometimes when you have, especially a record like Joe Biden's, where we're not allowed to ballyhoo it. We're not allowed to brag about an enormous success story.
Yeah,
as
if
far
it was
as
a Republican,
jobs, as far as unemployment goes, as far as the GDP goes, as far as the Dow goes, as far and you could just do the entire list all damn day, and we're told that we're not supposed to talk about it because there are still some people left behind. Meanwhile, Donald Trump presided over a 28% drop in GDP. That was the largest quarterly drop in American history, on top of the worst jobs record in American history. Once again, a net minus 3 million jobs lost under Donald Trump, and he can't stop bragging about how great his economic record was.
Can you
wanna
imagine
know why we lose sometimes? This is why. We pull our punches, and we need to stop doing that, especially now.
Well, I mean, Bob, that's exactly right. Can you imagine if this was a Republican's record? And would they listen to it? You know what? Don't talk about how unemployment was almost 13 and now it's 3. Don't mention that because that's like
bad.
what? Right, GDP, all of it. I mean, you said I can't believe this is even a thing, even when the stakes are so dire. Biden's economic record is hugely successful with the numbers to back it up. Meantime, MAGA can't stop bragging about Donald's record that included a deep recession and a record 3 million job losses. I mean, this is why I wonder if he will show up for a debate. Because Biden can hammer him with so many facts that you can't just lie I guess you can lie your way through an entire debate, but there are just so many provable facts, Bob, as you write.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice if we evaluated politicians based on their grasp of the facts. It just doesn't happen anymore, Stephanie. The conversation after the June 27th debate is going to be, is Joe Biden too old and is Donald Trump too crazy? And that's going to be the extent of it. And unfortunately, after they do their fact checking on cable news, that's when they abandon all of that. And it becomes more of a stylistic thing. It becomes more of an energy thing. Who won the week, the usual horse race nonsense that we get. No mention of the fact that one of the things that is causing massive inflation right now, as I said, and it's not massive inflation, it's price gouging that we're experiencing. And it's massive in the extent that, for example, McDonald's has been raising prices steadily over the years to the point where now the prices are 168%, I think between 100% and 168% larger than they were even just 5 years ago. And that is compared to just 3% inflation. So what's going on here? Obviously, corporations are seeing the fact that people are going to blame Joe Biden and the Democrats, and so they're using that as cover. Corporations are using that as cover to jack up their prices and gouge people at the gas pump, gouge people at the grocery store, and all the rest of it.
You retweeted The Economist said OPEC and its allies have introduced cuts to oil quotas in order to keep prices high. The problem is individual producers have an incentive to cheat, selling above their quotas and free riding on the efforts of others. And you retweeted Simon Rosenberg said anyone who thinks Joe Biden's responsible for high gas prices is an effing fucking idiot, a Russian troll, or a Republican, or all three at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not to mention that one of the things Trump has said out loud is that he will collude with them to raise gas prices before the election. I mean,
Yes, of course, of course. And OPEC is already cutting supplies to keep gas prices high.
Right.
This is out of the control of any sort of lever that the president can necessarily pull. However, the president is doing something as far as the strategic oil reserves, there's legislation. One particular piece of legislation was introduced in the Senate to crack down on price gougers. That was introduced by Senator Professor Warren, as Charlie Pierce called it.
And Republicans voted against it. Right.
And Republicans will filibuster that. As soon as it gets to the floor of the House, Republicans will filibuster that, and stupid voters will blame the Democrats. I mean, that's where we are in this country. Everything is dumb, and it's going to get us fascism. It is going to get us idiocratic, idiocracy, fascism.
Yeah.